At this time, I would like to ask that our committee take a few moments of silence for the two fallen police officers from McAllen.
Yeah.
It was just such a tragic event that they were taken while they were performing their duties.
Yeah, moment of silence. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
This item is public testimony. Anybody signed up?
No one in the affected area.
No, in effect, okay. Approval of the minutes. Review the minutes, please.
Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of last meeting.
Okay, need a second?
I will second.
Second, Charlie. Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes last meeting?
Aye.
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 Are they voting over there?
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. First public hearing.
Good evening, gentlemen. Della Robles, Planner One for the City of Pharr. Tonight, there are two items for your recommendation. The first item, Angela Oliva has filed with the Planning and Zoning Commission a request for a change of zone from Single Family Residential District R1 to Neighborhood Commercial District NC in order to establish a commercial daycare for the existing neighborhood on said property. The subject site is located on the north side of West Sam Houston Avenue and physically located at 410 West Sam Houston Avenue. The property is legally described as being lots 12 and 13, Ford's subdivision, Pharr, Hidalgo County, Texas. The property fronts West Sam Houston Avenue, an 80-foot major collector that runs east and west with a posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour or less as identified in the City of Pharr's thoroughfare plan. The property and the surrounding properties to the north, east, and west were zoned to Single-Family Residential District R1 on March the 30th, 1982, when the city adopted the current zoning ordinance we use today. A portion of the property to the south is zoned Agriculture and/or Open Space District AO, and the remaining portion of the property was rezoned to Office Professional District OP on March the 11th, 2018. There have been no other zoning requests within the general vicinity of the subject property since that time. The property is generally designated for commercial use in the land use plan. The neighborhood commercial district is established as a limited retail category intended to use near neighborhood areas for the purpose of supplying day-to-day retail needs of the residents in the area. The city will not recognize the NC usage in advance unless asked to do so by the property owner. This district could therefore be considered a floating zone. Since the site is typically small and surrounded by residential type land uses, this zoning would have an appearance of spot zoning. It is not an illegal spot zone. However, if it is called for in the comprehensive plan or if it serves the needs of the neighborhood. 16 letters were mailed out to the surrounding property owners and a legal notice was published in the Advance News Journal. Staff received no response to the letters or to the legal notice. Development Services is recommending approval of the request to rezone from Single Family Residential District R1 to Neighborhood Commercial District NC, as the property meets area requirements, has adequate ingress and egress, and is compatible with the properties located on the west and south. The zoning will also allow for reasonable use of the property and will promote compatibility with adjacent and nearby uses. The zoning will not have a detrimental impact to the neighborhood character as it is in line with the future land use plan. If approved, the owner must comply with all city ordinances and city department requirements. This item will go before the City Commission meeting of July the 20th, 2020 at 4 p.m. And gentlemen, we do not have representation in the audience.
Okay, this item requires a public hearing. Anybody lives in the affected area signed up to speak on this item?
No one in the affected area, Mr. Chairman.
Right, okay, we'll close the public hearing. Open the floor for any motions. Or any board discussion, I'm sorry. Any board discussion? Questions? None? Okay, we'll close the board discussion. Open up the floor for motions.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Charlie Ramirez. Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 2, Little Explorers Development and Learning Center LLC owners has filed with the Planning and Zoning Commission a request for a change of zone from Agriculture and/or Open Space District AO and Single Family Residential District R1 to General Business District C in order to establish a commercial daycare on said property. The subject site is located on the east side of South Jackson Road and physically located at 2301 South Jackson Road. The property is legally described as being a 2.499 acre tract of land, more or less out of Lot 5, Block 8, A.J. McCall subdivision, and being a 0.458 acre tract of land, more or less out of Lot 1, CD subdivision, Pharr, Hidalgo County, Texas. The property fronts South Jackson Road, a 120 to 150 foot principal arterial that runs north and south, with a posted speed limit of 40 to 55 miles per hour as identified in the City of Pharr's thoroughfare plan. The front portion of the property is currently zoned Agriculture and/or Open Space District AO, and the remaining portion along the property to the east was zoned to Single Family Residential District R1 on August the 6th, 1985. The property to the north was zoned to Residential Multifamily High Density RMFHD on December the 21st, 1982. On January the 8th, 1985, the property to the south was zoned to Townhouse Residential District RTH, and the Pharr city limits lie to the west. There have been no other zoning requests within the general vicinity of the subject property since that time. The property is generally designated for commercial and multifamily use in the land use plan. The general business district is established to provide adequate space and site diversification for most type of commercial businesses in the city of Pharr. Commercial development in the city of Pharr. Larger shopping centers and most existing commercial strips along major arterials would be included in this district. The noise, traffic, litter, late night hours, and possible blighting influences require adequate buffering from residential areas, and the traffic from such uses should not pass through residential areas except on arterials and major collectors. 47 letters were mailed out to the surrounding property owners, and a legal notice was published in the Advance News Journal. Staff received 5 telephone calls in opposition of the item, and now there's 3 people signed up to speak at the public hearing. Development Services is recommending approval of the request to rezone from Agriculture and/or Open Space District AO and Single Family Residential District R1 to General Business District C, as the property meets area requirements, has adequate ingress and egress, and is in line with the future land use plan. The zoning will also allow for reasonable use of the property. The zoning will not have a detrimental impact to the neighborhood character and is in line with the future land use plan. If approved, the owner must comply with all city ordinances and city department requirements. This item will go before the City Commission meeting of July the 20th, 2020 at 4 p.m. And we do not have representation in the audience.
Okay, thank you. This item requires a public hearing. For anybody that lives in the affected area, signed up to speak on this item?
Yes, sir. We do have 4 individuals signed up. 2, Ms. Robles will be presenting, and then 2 here
Okay.
on site.
Go ahead.
Mr. Abraham Buentello, 204 South Jackson Road, Unit 7. The proposed action, he is against. The proposed action will make our properties less attractive to future home buyers should I decide to sell. Number 2, more traffic and congestion. And number 3, concerned about what other businesses could be established there in the future. And number 4, noise in my backyard. Miss Wendy Lynn Labrador, 2401 South Jackson Road, Unit 14. Ms. Labrador is against, and the proposed action will affect her. The flow and traffic of Jackson Road is ridiculously heavy. Having two schools established in one block is not going to make it better. The Oratory School is at Jackson Road and Moore Road, and there will be an increase in accidents in this area if this proceeds. I totally vote against it.
Ms. Deyanira Robles?
Hi, I'm Deyanira Robles, and I live in 100 West Moore Road, Lot 47 at Pharr, Texas. I'm the owner of Lot 9, 10, and 12 at Dunlin Estates. We are 61 families who live in Dunlin Estates, and in Dunlin Acres, 108 families. Total 169 families. This lot to deal with is in between these two subdivisions. Actually, we do have a serious problem to get in and out of the subdivision because of the heavy traffic of cars and trailers. And obviously, the problem will increase if you change the status of the area from residential district to general business district. The center line will be full in the morning and in the afternoon and will not let us get in and out in an expedited manner to the subdivision. Most of the residents in Dunlin Estates are owners and senior people. We believe this is not fair for all of us. It will create another bottleneck as the one created by Oratory School at Moore Road and Jackson Road. We also have in the same block another adult daycare. I encourage the city of Pharr before granting this change
Robles,
of.
your time has expired.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Ayala?
Buenas tardes a todos.
Buenas tardes.
Soy Rosa María Ayala y vengo representando los 61 familias que viven en Dunlin Estates. Yo soy la persona que les ayudo a administrar la propiedad. De hecho, en sí, ya tenemos el tráfico muy pesado en lo que es entre la Jackson, entre Holly Crest y la Moore. Siempre la gente batalla para salir y batalla para entrar. Tenemos el tráfico que viene de México y cruzando y saliendo con trailers muy pesados todo el tiempo. La gente tiene que entrar de una persona y quedarse en el carril del centro para poder entrar. Y a veces nos hemos salvado de haber un accidente porque los carros cuando cambia el semáforo pasan inmediatamente y siempre hay problemas ahí de algún accidente, ¿verdad? Otro de los problemas que estamos viendo, en la misma calle, en la misma cuadra, hay dos escuelas, Oratory y el otro daycare que está ahí. Estamos a unos cuantos pasos de la escuela. Sentimos que la gente, como decía la señora Deyanira, la mayoría son gente adulta y tienen muchos años viviendo ahí, han invertido todo su dinero en estas propiedades y tienen mucha preocupación qué va a pasar. No saben si va a aumentar los impuestos, va a bajar la depreciación ahí de las propiedades porque va a cambiar de residencial a comercial, ¿verdad? De hecho, hay una entrada y una salida, que nada más entra
Ms.
un solo
Ayala,
carro
your
y
time has
sale un solo
expired.
carro. Ok. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. That's it? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, open up the floor, board discussion. Questions? I have a question. This area is not part of the subdivision, correct?
This is not part of the subdivision. They are in the process of subdividing the property.
Properties of what?
They are in the process of subdividing the property.
Of the property in question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, can our attorney elaborate on that as far as they're two separate entities completely, so?
The requirement is still set forth in 211.006 of the government code that indicates they still have to give notice to the surrounding property owners. It doesn't make a distinction of them being in a gated subdivision versus being outside. However, what still applies is the requirement to get the individual property owner's signatures on a petition in order for them to oppose the change of zone. But it doesn't distinguish between, you only give notice if it's not in a gated subdivision or it is in the subdivision. But it's relevant, but that doesn't change who we have to give notice to and who has a right to oppose the change of zone.
So that could be done at the city council level.
Ultimately, the decision will be at the city council level with respect to the petition and whether or not the required number of signatures are present, and that would affect the majority vote that would be required in order to change the zone.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have one question, Chairman.
On this one,
Go ahead.
but you're not.
This is just confirming this proposed change is in line with the future
Engineer?
land use plan,
Okay.
correct?
Yes.
No,
Number
no.
9 on the checkoff list
Okay,
says yes.
perfect.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman Wiley, we
Yes.
do have representation in the audience for this property. We have the engineer, Mr. Ruben Canales, if you all like to ask him questions, or he would like to speak. Yeah, if he would like to speak in regards to this.
Good evening, board members. My name is Ruben De Jesus. Mr. Canales is my mentor. I'm here representing the property owners, work with Meldon and Hunt, we're the engineer and surveyors for them. Currently, they're coming to you guys to do the change of zone because the purpose of what they're trying to do is the daycare. And they're gonna be having about 40 to 50 students at one time. Traffic would be definitely addressed during the subdivision process, because this would be step one. And then going into the subdivision process, we look at the whole property as a whole, and we would have to comply with any requirements the city would have. We would also be presenting the site plan at that time with them. The proposal is to use the existing structure that there's now. It used to be a home. They're gonna remodel the inside only and to adhere to the requirements for a daycare. Make sure they have the proper exits at every room and having all the right parking. The plan is not to change the site more than what it is. It's really just keep it and kind of beautifying the area. They're not gonna tear down any trees. They really wanna use the whole property more to give the children somewhere to play during the day. But really, that's the whole purpose of today's change of zone.
So the entrance and exit that are there right now are off of Jackson Road, correct?
Correct.
And in all the changes, there were no proposals to go in and out through the subdivision entrance that's next to it?
To the north,
Yes,
no.
no.
There would be no entrances. Currently, there's a structured gate there, well, a fencing there that separates both to the north and to the south. So there'd be no proposed new entrances. Whatever is there now would be utilized.
Any other questions? No other questions from the board?
Yes, I would like to ask him, right now, 40
Uh,
pupils.
Ma'am, you've already spoken, I'm sorry. You had a time limit, and that's the process. You still have an opportunity to go when you go to the city council.
Okay.
Thank you. No further comments, no questions? Okay, we'll close the board discussion. Open the floor for any motions.
Mr. Chairman, Luis Madrigal, I move to approve.
Okay, need a
I'll
second?
second that.
Second was,
Okay.
Munguia?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Tonight, gentlemen, we have one item for your approval regarding a subdivision. Meldon and Hunt, Inc., representing 3100 Sugar Subdivision LTD, a Texas Limited Partnership, is requesting a preliminary plat approval of the proposed D and F subdivision. The property is legally described as being a 5.458 acre tract of land being part or portion out of Lot 135 Kelly Pharr Subdivision, Pharr, Hidalgo County, Texas. The property's physical address is 3106 North Sugar Road. The property is currently zoned Agriculture and/or Open Space District AO. The adjacent zones are Heavy Commercial District HC to the north, east, and south, and Heavy Commercial District HC and General Business District C to the west. The property is designated for industrial use in the land use plan. The property proposed use, warehouse, variances, none requested. Recommendations, Development Services recommends preliminary plat approval of the proposed DNF subdivision, subject to the following conditions as set in your packet before you.
Okay, this item does not require a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and open up the item for board discussion. Questions? No discussion? Okay, we close the board discussion, open up the floor for any motions.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve, Luis Madrigal, I move to approve preliminary plat for the DNF subdivision.
I second.
Charlie,
Rafael
second.
Munguia, second.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Okay. Next item is announcements and other business.
No further business, Chairman.
None? Okay. And there's only one left.
Chairman, I move to adjourn.
I'll make a second on that.
Second, Charlie Ramirez. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Done. Bye-bye.